Hello everyone and welcome back to Late Night Beats. Today I want to talk about something that I find particularly interesting, namely about people who struggle to release music. I actually have a good friend of mine in mind. He has a beautifully complex modular system and a lot of great hardware gear, but he hardly ever publishes anything. So in this video I'd like to offer my own personal suggestion on how to fix this issue. And spoiler alert, of course, it's a 4-track tape recorder. So let's say you have the urge to release music, but you can't really get around to it. In my opinion, the easiest way to maximize your output is to focus on things that you enjoy and that you find fun, and minimize the things that you dislike and find challenging. It might sound very obvious, but let me break it down. In my case, I enjoy jamming, improvising, and playing on expressive instruments like a guitar or my Rolly, for example. What I dislike is mixing in a DAW and recording, especially guitars, into a DAW. I consider myself a pretty decent player, and especially when it comes to rhythm and playing tight. But whenever I record my guitar into a DAW, it always feels like it's off rhythmically. I'm not sure if it's the latency or the pressure of recording, probably both, but there's always something off and I'm never satisfied with the results. So that's why, in a sense, I found a lot of satisfaction in recording to a tape 4-track. Because it allows me to capture the moment, it has no latency, and there's no way to mix anything that you put in there, so it's a win-win. Let me walk you through what you could do in order to maximize your output. And this is specifically going to look at the example of a modular synthesizer, but if you prefer any other way of working, this should work for you as well. So let's say that you have a beautifully intricate modular system, you enjoy making interesting sequences, and you're pretty good at sound design. And you enjoy jamming out using this system, but you hardly ever end up recording this and publishing anything that you made on the modular. You might even have your DAW set up perfectly to capture everything in sync with the tempo, with the clock, but you never end up doing anything with it. So even if you recorded everything while patching and while jamming to it, then you end up with a lot of materials, like probably 2 hours of materials that you have to sift through. It's a chore. And my suggestion here is to ditch the DAW and instead set up a 4-track. You don't need to overcomplicate things, just put the output of your modular system into the 4-track the same as you would do into a DAW. And you can afford to be generous here, use 2 tracks, record in stereo, no worries there. So let's say you have a really cool evolving patch, just record 5 minutes of it to tape. Then go do something else, make some tea, enjoy yourself, watch a movie, play a video game, whatever. You can also deconstruct the patch right away. Don't keep it there, get rid of it, it's recorded, it's captured. At this point, don't even worry about the tape, just leave it in and wait for the next time inspiration strikes. So let's say next week you have another idea, you have a cool patch, just record another 5 minutes of it to the same tape right after the first one. If you're using a 60-minute tape, as you probably should, you'll find out that after 6 such sessions, you're going to run out of tape. And it's an oddly satisfying feeling when the tape stops. Now, rewind all the way to the beginning and give it a good listen. You'd be surprised how complete and produced this already sounds. And because most probably your 6 jams always captured some sort of an emotion that you had when recording it, there's already a sense of progression and sense of story to the tape. So now what you want to do is you want to go back to your modular and patch a very ambient, rhythmless drone patch. And then record it in mono to one of the 2 remaining tracks on your 4-track. If you play your cards right, you can actually capture the entire performance with one patch, but it's up to you. If it's not lining up perfectly, don't worry about this, you can always cover for it later. Now rewind all the way to the beginning, and it's time to add a human component to it. So if you can play an instrument like a guitar or piano, that's great. If you don't, you can sing, you can rap, you can route auto-tune from your DAW into your 4-track. If you have no other idea, just bring in some pots and pans and some wooden sticks and bang on them while listening to the rest of the album. It's important that it's completely spontaneous, that there's nothing sequenced in there, and that you don't have to worry about syncing it to the rest of the music that you recorded before. Again, if you play your cards right, you might be able to capture this performance in one sitting. The idea here is the easier, the better. So now your album is pretty much ready, but if you want to make it really cool, there's one more thing that you can do. It's important to remember that with a 4-track, you don't have to share everything that you recorded with the wider audience. So now what you need to do is listen and take notes. Rewind the tape all the way to the beginning, reset the counter and give it a listen. And then write down the counter value whenever something interesting happens on one of the 4 tracks. For me, it typically looks something like that. And now, once your notes are ready, you can finally set up your DAW or your digital mixer and deliver the final performance of your album. Press play and use the faders and the pans to highlight the interesting parts of the tape and hide the ones that you don't necessarily want to share. I personally prefer to do it in one take to avoid having to sort of resync it later, but you do what you want, I'm not your mom. And finally, the only thing left to do is get it mastered, if you want to, don't have to, and then publish it on your platform of choice. I promise you, it's going to be interesting, it's going to be authentic, and it's going to sound better than it has any right to. Oh, and don't forget to put a nice label on the tape, it's a very satisfying thing to do. That's it, that's my recipe. I already made 2 albums using this method and I hope to make a few more in the future. And if you decide to try it, I'd love to listen to it, so drop the link in the comment, I'll make sure to check it out. Alright, I'm gonna shut up for now. I hope you enjoyed this little video and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.